That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Greetings and welcome to the Unique Perspectives podcast. I'm your host, Charles Dixon, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
What's up, fam, on a Friday afternoon? Doing good. It's nice outside, and the temperature's starting to warm up a little bit. It's time to, it's actually getting a little more stable, staying warmer longer or whatever like that. I'm good, man.
It's been the weather's definitely warming up. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been a good week. Decent week. Yeah. How about you? How you doing? How was your week?
It's cool. Every now and then, Adam, you have your trials and tribulations in the workplace. But other than that,
Lord. Oh, Jesus.
Sometimes it's hard being a man. When you're a man, not just a man, a colored man.
Man, what you talking about, bro?
Some extra stuff.
Oh my God.
When he put us in these positions, he put a certain amount of grace under the position. So you understand, we're good. We just have to go through it sometimes to be able to show our resilience, but it's all.
Can I not go through it and still we good on that right there?
Yeah.
Anyway, man. I understand. Anyway. I get that.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, in other words, so let's talk in popular news. I'm not sure how much are you up on this, but there's this I'm just going to say there's this woman who has been you probably seen her. She interviewed Nick Cannon. She interviewed Cam.
I know you're talking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Yes. And so now it is like it's raining Dr. Cheyenne Bryant all over the internet.
Not raining.
Even so much so. Look, I laugh because today they even had TMZ said something about it.
Really?
And they showed her on an interview that she had, I want to say either yesterday or the day before, where it was a clip of her telling the lady, she was already on the Breakfast Club, and she kind of got on there and was like, this is my last time explaining it, and then she got on another show, the lady asked her about it, she got defensive again, and so I think all this is doing is, I mean, you got to know that the internet is undefeated, Adam. So you gotta know if you really are hiding something, the internet's going to
they're gonna find out.
You got smart people all over the globe, and somebody is going to dig up something to say, "Bam, stop lying." You understand what I'm saying? If that's the alleged situation,
right.
But at the point, I guess what I'm saying is, people are getting on there, and everybody's saying, "Look, if you have these credentials, you got something. You got graduation pictures." You got emails from the university. Even if they went out of business, they message you. You got something in your history from the university,
right?
Somewhere there is another. What about your what's the word I wanted to say? When we have the dissertation notes, where is all of those
transcripts?
Where is all that? Where did you have a cap and gown moment, even if it was virtual? Because we live in the day now. We got all these places that we call them San Diego University. We call all these names universities. They're not necessarily accredited universities as we know the big ones. They're just all of these different colleges. So who knows? But even nonetheless, you still got something. Look, I don't want to be biased here, Adam, but one thing I know about African American people, we do something about like some doctorate, it's gonna be all over the house in everybody gonna know. It's not gonna be something we can't readily go and fact check.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna make
Right.
sure that is in front, and that's up front, close and center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I heard about it. I actually watched that segment on The Breakfast Club where
Yeah.
she was explaining the situation with her credentials and her transcripts and that how that whole situation was.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, if you just go watch it yourself. Go watch it yourself and you make your own decisions. I really don't have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how nowadays, you know, the internet is undefeated, man. Is I don't even know what to say at this point because it's crazy. Because people want you to prove to them whatever they want you to prove to them, and I think sometimes if you're not careful, you'll wind up having to fight battles that you really don't have to fight.
Yeah.
If you are who you say you are, then that's who you say you are. I'm not sitting there trying to dispute or other people are, but again, you feed in that type of energy, then that's what you're gonna get, man. I don't know. It's really interesting. Again, I think if you go back to that interview that she did on the Breakfast Club earlier this week, when she's explaining things, listen to what she's saying. Okay, and you make your own personal decision based off of what she's saying. I know what I think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right. Well,
you know what I think it is, Adam? I think people have to understand that. I mean, look, if you can articulate and if you have some experience of some sort to talk well and maybe, get yourself on some stages or what have you, great. But I mean, if this were to allegedly not be true, that she's doesn't have these degrees or whatever,
right?
The takeaway from it is it's kind of more of a, now it puts you in the fraud category, right? As opposed to you walking up by yourself and just saying, well, I'm just Cheyenne, but I know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Whatever, and just go to talking.
Right.
We have to admit the offense here is we all know that the precursor of doctor can get you in certain rooms that just Adam can't get into. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think she knew that, and so it was like, because it has done just that. Her saying doctor coupled with her looks, it has gotten her everywhere. You know what I mean? And so now it is like, so is it worth it to risk it? Because now, what happens if it, because right now people are like not letting up. Every day somebody's posting something else about it. I can see if they moved on, but they're keeping it going. Because I think it's because she's so she can't help who she is, but because she's so matter of fact in the way she speaks, it makes people really want to chase down the truth now. Oh, who do you think I'm gonna find it? You know what I mean? And so it's just like I don't know. Yeah, it's just something else.
Yeah, I listened to the interview. I listened to what she had to say, and it's sometimes you get into situations and you start explaining explaining things, and the more you explain, the less sense it actually makes. And I'm going, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't have a dog in this fight. There's nothing, I'm not getting any benefit out of this.
Yeah.
In terms of the explanation or whatever like that. So it's up to you to look at it, decide for yourself what you believe is true and what you don't believe is true, and then that's it.
Let me tell you, if I was consulting Adam, I would tell her, listen, at this point, just like Tanya said, she said at this point she needs to double down on the proof. I would simply say, right now you're on a platform.
Right.
Anytime TMZ is promoting something about you, you're on a platform, right?
Yeah.
So go on one of them big platforms and start crying. And say you had this in your history, your childhood. We're gonna talk about today, your childhood, and then say, "I'm sorry. I've always had these. I've always had to be strong, the strong one in the family, and something about you needing to, I just wanted to be respected. That's why I led with doctor. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. She's gonna have to, if she wants to stay in this zone, you're gonna have to do something.
Well, here's the thing,
apologize. You can't be arrogant and walk this out. You
Here's the
know what I mean?
thing. Here's the thing
Yeah.
that I think we might be missing if you're not looking deep enough. I think we're
Mm,
looking at the surface level of this whole situation.
okay.
But what occurs to me is the more that this is discussed in social media circles and platforms, the
Mm,
more attention is being brought to it.
yes. Yeah.
Now, for her purposes, this is not necessarily a bad
Bad
thing
thing. Yeah, it's
because now
fun.
you've got publicity.
Yeah.
You've got almost free advertisement taking
Yeah.
place, bringing more attention to yourself.
Yes.
For good or for bad, we
Yeah.
don't know. But again, since everybody is paying attention to this, you
Mm,
got you have publicity now. People are paying attention to you, which means there's the opportunity for opportunities.
mm.
Doors might be open as a result of this. You know what I'm saying? So this might all play into whatever it is that she's trying to do. Again, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't. I don't have a dog in
Yeah.
this fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you have to look beyond what's actually happened to see what's really happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
this might be about the degrees. This might be about the credentials. Okay. But at the same time, this is drawing a lot of attention in.
Mm.
Okay. Before, when we weren't discussing her, there was nothing to discuss. But
Yeah.
now we're
Yeah, we're
talking about
discussing
her.
her. Yeah.
You see what I'm
And that
saying?
yeah, it's on the forefront now. It's like
Yeah.
she had a run where people may have been skeptic, but they
Mhm.
didn't push hard.
Right.
Now
Now it's
it's
being
like
pushed.
everywhere you go, and
Yeah.
I think what it was there's so many interviews where people may have alluded to asking her about it,
Mhm,
and she
mhm.
kind of quickly kind of shut them down in a way to move it along, right?
Right.
And so now people are more resistant. They're like, okay, look, what's going on with the degree? Are you a doctor or not? So now it's no tolerance. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, what's up? And the thing that she has to think about is almost every platform that she gets on that's not necessarily an ally of hers. She got to know it's going to be about someone trying to come with some kind of receipt to expose you. She got to understand that. That's just
Yeah.
what's going to be. Right.
Which
Yeah.
is totally fine. But again, my
Yeah.
point is there is a bigger picture in here.
Yeah.
It ain't necessarily about the credentials. We're using that. That's the lure to get you to talk about her.
Got it.
In my perspective, it's just about garnering more attention with this. Because honestly, I'm trying to think of, okay, after she had the conversation with Cam, and then I think she had a couple of other conversations, I don't really remember hearing much about her.
Yeah.
But now it seems like
It's
everything.
all over the place.
I mean, look at us. We're talking about it.
You're talking about it. Yeah. I mean, it's
So-
front page news. It's all over the place. So,
Yeah. So it's just interesting that nowadays you have the smoke screen, but then you have the real issue. And it's until you get behind the smoke screen that you are able to identify what the actual issue is or what the real point of all of this really is. I'm just saying that again. I don't have a dog in the fight, so.
But Mr. Fuller, why don't we go ahead and on that note, let's just go ahead on and break this on down and let's talk about this week's topic and open it on up.
All right, go ahead, go. Oh, you want me to read? You ain't say that. That's not what you said. Usually you do a little introduction. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Fine.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah,
So basically,
Bruce says she fine though.
fine and fraudulent. No, that's funny.
Bruce says she fine and
Fine and
fraudulent. What?
Okay, let's look at it like this, people.
Oh,
So
God. Got to go.
all of us come from somewhere, Adam.
Mhm,
We had a mother, we had a father, and the thing about it is, if you look at it this way, each one of us, it doesn't matter if you had a superb childhood or a terrible one, right? Whether
Mhm.
your parent was absent or present,
Mhm.
either way, you've had some effects of both of them, right? Whether you saw something, whether you didn't see something, whether you were
Yeah.
embraced, it was a cold house,
Mhm.
something was experienced. And so as we got older, even some of us that may have had to go to grandma's or auntie's house, you know how that is. Sometimes the mama
Yeah.
or daddy don't keep you. So
Yeah.
with all that being said, when we get older, we grow up, we mature, we get jobs, we get independent. But
Mhm.
when we go out into the world to attempt to love someone or find love and be loved,
Mhm.
a lot of times we don't realize how much our emotional DNA from our parents, either one or the other, show up in who we are.
True.
And sometimes
True.
not just in who we are, it shows up in our situations.
Mhm.
Sometimes dad is home by himself. You know,
Mm.
dad ain't married, right? Dad home by
Mm.
himself.
Okay.
Now I'm paralleling if someone is single, right?
Okay.
Mama is by herself, right?
Okay.
You by yourself, right? And if you think
Okay.
about it, you think
Okay.
about behaviors, reactions, maybe attitudes, maybe even mental expectations.
Mhm.
A lot of times they're not even just of our own. And we're not even talking about blaming parents because it's
Right.
our
Right.
responsibility to sift through and retain or rid.
Yeah.
It's things that are healthy or positive or not.
Yeah.
But I think it's something to think about and pay attention to because I think it plays into why a lot of us are the way we are today. Whether
Mm.
that is good, bad, or indifferent, either
Right.
way, we are carrying things that are likely not as conducive to our relationships or marriages as we should have. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, real
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
Oh, so you want me to
All right.
read
Yeah.
now? You want
Now
me to
it's
read?
your turn. I'm
Now
passing
you
it
want me
over
to
to
read?
you.
Now you want me to read? All right, here we go. Limited when childhood has shaped our capacity to love. What if your love life isn't broken, just programmed?
Mm.
In this week's episode of the Unique Perspectives podcast, we're exposing how your earliest experiences quietly decide who you chase, what you tolerate, and when you shut down. The way you were held, ignored, protected, or abandoned as a kid is still running the show in your adult relationships. This isn't about blaming parents, it's about finally seeing the script. Because some people do love you the best they can, and their best still starves you. If you've ever thought, why do I keep ending up here? This conversation is your mirror and your map.
Mm.
Press play and start rewriting the limits on your capacity to love and be loved. Let's unravel
Mm.
the reasons why the struggle will always appear to be real if we ignore the original struggle that got us here.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, we to slowly take away from that,
Hmm.
there's a lot of truth to that idea and concept.
Hmm.
People often love only up to the capacity that was modeled for them from early childhood up to now.
Yeah.
But that capacity is not fixed and can grow with awareness and healing.
Hmm.
But when it comes to childhood, why childhood shapes our capacity to love. From infancy, we are learning what love, safety, and care look and feel like.
Hmm.
Early caregiving experiences, warm responses versus harsh, neglectful, get encoded as internal templates for how close relationships work.
Hmm.
These early love lessons shape things like how much closeness we can tolerate before feeling smothered or abandoned,
Hmm.
whether we expect our needs to be met or dismissed, how safe it feels to be vulnerable, depend on others, or express anger and sadness. Attachment research shows that the way a caregiver relates to a child in the first years of life can predict how that person behaves in romantic relationships decades later.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, man, we gotta think about that. I mean, I'm sure just looking at me and you, Adam, we both come from two parents, right? Maybe two different
Yeah.
dynamics, but
Right.
nonetheless, I was thinking in history. I mean, before this show was coming up, I was thinking about it. I was like, childhood. And I think for years, it's easy for me to say my dad was there, my
Hmm.
mom was there, right? They
Hmm.
were both there.
Right.
If I had to look at it from a grown man lens now, looking back, like if I would fly on a wall looking back,
Yeah.
yes, my dad was honorably there. My mom was honorably there.
Hmm.
But my mom, she was the go-getter. She was the ambitious person. Like you were not going to stop her. So I could see myself in that from her, right? She
Mhm.
was going to be whatever she set her mind to, she was going to do it. My
Mhm.
dad was the psychoanalyzer. He's the overly logical,
Mhm.
low key. He had his hobbies, and when he fixated himself on a hobby, he liked camping, he liked reptiles, he liked reading books, he liked playing the guitar. He did all kinds of different. He loved cars.
Okay.
He loved cars, working on cars and getting all these cars and all that. He liked
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
But my dad was very stationary. My
Mm.
mom was a goer. She was
Okay.
going to go to.
She went out.
She went to do what she had to do, and
Yeah.
so what I saw in that dynamic was my dad was present, my
Mhm.
mom was there,
Mhm.
but they were oftentimes separated. And what I mean by that was I can remember several times my dad would say, you gotta go down to that church again tonight. Like my mom was locked into, so you know how ministry works, right? She was locked in to church, and my dad, like I said, he brought her there,
Yeah.
but he didn't stay there. He just took her there to be like, this is a good place to sit yourself down. And then he withdrew and went back home in front of the TV.
Right.
I think at first it was cute to be like, yeah, I done took Cora to the service, and now she's a good old church lady until she got committed.
Right.
And when she got committed, so did the rest of her life.
Yeah.
All of the other things, she was a part of this. She was on this board. She was this, doing all these traveling. So now it's like, okay. And if I had to talk to my mom back then, I would have said, this is very noble, Mom, that you're doing all of these things for a spiritual cause.
Right.
But if I had to be Dad's lawyer, you are his wife.
Right.
So there has to be a balance. And there was times where I would see her be home and so, but it almost looked uncomfortable because she was so used to being out in that church.
Yeah.
And so she would be there. And so to me, I looked at that from myself with my dad is he became very content, even within his marriage, with being with himself.
Okay.
I mean, he was there. He know how to keep himself occupied or whatever. He had plenty of things to do it with, but I'm sure he preferred having his wife there. And while they never divorced or anything like that, I never even heard them even. I can count on my hands the times I've maybe heard arguments, maybe 5 raised arguments in the time I've heard them, but nothing physical or nothing like that. Or my mom never walked out knowing my dad, but it was like, we keeping a lid on it, but I'm about to go. I will see when I get back. Right. It was kind of like that kind of thing. So I was looking at that and saying, what parts of those things do I play? And I could see me definitely, sometimes I can be a little over analytical like my dad and overthink things. Look, I could be in a mood because my dad would snap sometimes.
Wow.
Meaning not like an abusive way, but he would be you'll say something to, I said,
wow.
He would get a little.
I think I've seen that part. I think I've seen that part in you.
He get a little short patient sometimes. And my mom was the quiet storm. You're not going to see her readily get uptight or in her feelings until she has had enough. When she had enough, then she was like, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
And that was a stern face. That's it. It wasn't a whole bunch of yelling and dramatic, all that. She just said what she said, and she was not going to do it. And my father knew to back down. He was like, "Oh, okay. She flipped the script here. Let me just go ahead and stop getting on her nerves."
Chill.
But chill. I mean, that was an interesting dynamic. But we got to look at I'm saying all this today to say we have to look at our childhood and confront it, right? Because a lot of times we grow up feeling a way. I know plenty of people who feel a way about their mother or dad, whether the dad was or mom was present or not.
Right.
And I think sometimes people are upset because they don't want to admit that they resemble them emotionally.
Yeah.
They love like them. They lack like them.
Like them, yeah.
And people don't want to admit that. But it's up to us to make those adjustments to say, I see something developing.
Yeah.
I think I know where it came from. Right. But I need to talk to somebody so I can shift it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Real talk. Yeah, man. When you brought this topic up earlier this week and I saw it, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And because it's something that I I've become aware of, I'd say within the last decade, that I've really
Mm,
become aware of um, what runs through me, um,
mm,
the things that run through me from my parents' behaviors. It
mm,
was interesting because it was when I got uh, it was like right after the divorce, I really began to just kind of like look at my life, where it was, and who I was at that
mm.
particular time, right? And I'll say it like this. And I'm not going. I don't want to get too churchy, but I do want to say it like this.
Okay.
It wasn't until the Lord began to point some things out in me, and showed me the origin point of what was in me. He
Yeah.
began to point back at my parents
Got it.
and their relationship, and so I'll say it in this way. There were two things that he pointed out to me, and I was talking to you about this earlier. The first thing was the things that I observed from my mom and from my dad. A
Okay.
lot of behaviors that I have, I learned from them.
Mm.
I learned, how to be certain way and how to do certain things. Because if we're honest, parents are supposed to raise their children, so they model certain things in front of them. They
Right.
show them, they display certain ways in front of their children, so that they can learn how to be certain ways. But then there are other things that our parents do not a good model of.
Yeah. Yeah.
What they showed you, that whatever they showed you, whatever they displayed before you, was
Yeah.
not a good model. It
Yeah.
wasn't good. I'll go a little further with that. In regards to the relationship between my mom and my dad, I can
Mm.
honestly say I don't really remember them. There were very few occasions where they really got along with each other.
Wow. Wow.
And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there struggling, trying to. There were few
Yeah.
occasions that I
Few.
can remember
Right.
where they
Right.
got along,
Wow.
and so what I'm saying is I didn't really see a
Mm.
real loving
Cohesiveness. Yeah.
relationship
Yeah. Wow.
between them.
Mm.
I didn't get that template. I didn't get that model from them. I didn't see them share affectionate moments. That I didn't see them be loving toward each other a whole lot. I mean,
Wow.
I'm sitting there trying to rack. I'm gonna have to call my sister now and
Wow.
ask her, does she? And I'm the oldest, and I'm sitting there going, I don't
Wow.
really remember them having moments like that. Moments that I remember that stayed with me were moments when they were arguing. I know you said
Wow.
your
Yeah.
family was pretty quiet, pretty
Yeah.
subdued.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
mine was way on the other end of the
Uh, yeah.
spectrum, but there were a couple of knockdown dragouts that I was like, "Oh
Wow.
Jesus!" As
Wow.
a young kid, that were impressionable on me,
Yeah. Wow.
and so I didn't that I didn't have that real model, that real template
Yeah.
to obviously observe what they did and to be able to carry that on in my own personal relationship. I
Yeah.
didn't have that. So whatever I had to literally like construct from the ground up because I didn't
Yeah.
have that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Wow.
But then there are the other things that I also that I'm aware of, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. And it
Yeah.
has to do with some of the behaviors that again that I have that I may not have observed in my mom and in my dad, but yet
Mm.
and still they're in me.
They're in you. Yeah.
And I
Wow.
can trace them back in terms of knowing and realizing, well, if this was in me, this was definitely in them.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's yeah. I think a lot of times, if we're honest with ourselves, we have to admit that the reason why we are the way we are is because of our parents.
Yeah. Wow.
Either they did do something or they
Wow.
didn't
Did
do
not.
something.
Yeah, that's it.
And as a result of them doing it or not doing it, resulted in our being shaped in that way.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we can't resist that. That is the reality, right?
Yeah.
That's the reality because we were shaped in that way.
Yeah.
Now, I think part of it that you were kind of alluding to was the fact that we need somebody to come along to help us to recognize
Yeah.
the things
Yeah. Call it
that
out. Yeah.
yeah, call that out and help us to see it. So
Yeah.
when my wife shows me something or says something to me that I need to do a certain thing or I need to address a certain thing, then I can't just readily dismiss it out of hand as nothing, but I have to take it
Mm.
seriously because she observed it in me. And now
Wow.
I need to be able to address whatever that issue is. and deal with it in a way that is helpful. There's no point in not acknowledging it. If it's there, it's there. You need to deal with it. It's the reason why your relationships don't go the way that you want them to go, because you're refusing to address what the issue is. And here's the thing though, Charles, because you refuse to address what the issue is, you're going around in cycles. You're repeating the same cycle over and over again because you refuse to address whatever the issue is. So the same thing that your present boyfriend or girlfriend is experiencing is the same thing that your ex used to experience, is the reason why you're not together anymore.
Wow. Wow.
Just saying.
You're right. And like you're saying, I mean, the good point is an example you made of just kind of making the adjustment, because honestly, if you coming up, if that was all the model you saw was like some disagreement or some sort of dysfunction, you could have carried that over and been that person, right? So it takes us becoming conscious of what that is and making an effort to say, you know what, I feel myself welling up to respond much like him or her. Right. And I'm not saying if we're taking from the not so good examples, not just the good, but if we're taking from that side, we have to be conscious to say, let me adjust, because even if I see it welling up, I know myself personally, I didn't like it.
Right.
So if I don't like it, let me not act in it. It's something I don't like myself. You know what I mean? And go from there.
And sometimes, Charles, here's the thing, and I'm gonna be real transparent with everybody.
Okay.
Today. I think sometimes, and when it comes to really recognizing the behavior that is in us, that we commit, that we do, often it's difficult to admit it because it's a part of us. It's a part of who we are. Change is difficult when it comes to actually dealing with the reality of who you are. Not who you think you are, but who you actually are. And you know you. You cannot lie to you and pretend like you don't know who you are. You know who you are, and you know how you are.
Yeah, that's true.
And how do you deal with, how do you grip that and change it?
Wow.
I'll give you an example. I'm gonna put myself all the way out there today. I'm gonna put myself all the way out there today.
Come on. All right.
So my dad, when we were coming up, he had a way of being there but not being there. He would go up in the room by himself and just watch TV. We would be in the room, we would be downstairs playing or whatever like that, and he would be up in the room. You know, he would be there all day. You know, just in the room by himself watching TV. Just, you know, he's not doing nothing, not making up. He's not out, he's not tripping.
Yeah.
But he's there, but he's not there.
Yeah.
I do literally the same thing.
Oh,
I'm telling on myself,
zone out,
and just zone out. And then, you know what? I'll say it like this. And I appreciate my wife for who she is. I really do, because I think she really is a blessing in my life, because she's been able to recognize some of the stuff in me that isn't the greatest stuff, but yet and still accepts me for who I am.
Yeah.
Doesn't really try to, you know, doesn't argue me down, doesn't fuss me down. And I'll be in the room and I'll be chilling, I'll be watching TV or whatever like that, you know, and then, you know, she'll come upstairs and she'll be like, "Can I hang out with you?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, you
part of you like, look, go ahead over there, man."
Exactly. You want to hang out with me?
You know, this is what I'm doing myself right now.
Right. But here's the thing though, right? I think she realizes I was going to say it one way, but I'm not going to say it like that. This brother is up here in his room. Let me go see my husband.
I feel you.
Let me go see him.
Wow.
It's an acknowledgement of you. I see where you are. I see where you are, and I know what's going on. So I'm going to move out of my spot and I'm going to move into your spot for a minute. Acknowledging that behavior. It's not making an excuse for it, but what it is doing is helping me to realize, yeah, you really shouldn't be locked up in here like this. So now Adam has to challenge himself this weekend and actually come out the room. You know what I'm saying? And this is my whole point in saying this is you need to be able to have a system of people, a set of people, some friends, somebody who can look at that and say, you know what? I see where you are. Let me try to help you to get out of where you are. Or at least acknowledge whatever the issue is. And often it's not always the easy. Listen, y'all, it ain't easy looking at you for who you really are.
Yeah, wow.
It's not easy. Okay. And often when we get in relationships and we go through certain things, the other person sees certain things in us. And when they try to point it out, we don't want to recognize it.
Wow.
But you got to see it for what it is, because they're not the only ones who see it.
Wow. So what you're bringing up now is taking a segue. This is kind of speaking on our capacities as we are adults. Just talking about the capacities of how we love. So let's dip into that really quick.
Okay. All right.
So there's 3 quick areas I'll break down. There's the avoidance style. So if you grew up where emotions were minimized or independence was overvalued, you may have learned to shut down feelings and handle everything alone. So as an adult, you can seem distant, self-constrained, or unable to offer deep emotional availability.
Wow.
Anyway, then number 2 is anxious style. If love felt inconsistent, sometimes present, sometimes withdrawn, you might crave closeness, but also fear abandonment, leading to clinginess, over pursuit, or being drawn to emotionally unavailable partners. That's anxious. So first, avoidant. Second, anxious. Lastly is secure style. If you experienced mostly consistent, responsive care, you're more likely to trust others, communicate clearly, and work through conflict, which shows up as a higher, more flexible capacity for healthy intimacy. These are not moral judgments. They're reflections of what your nervous system learned was normal love. All right. So yeah, man. I mean, that's so. I'm gonna bring up a quick example, Adam, for you.
Okay.
I touched on it in the beginning of the show. I'm going to be really clean around. It's not bad, but I'm going to say I learned from Adam that not everybody has the gift of it is finished. Right? Not everybody has the gift. I'm gonna make it example. I gotta talk about this. I'm gonna say this. All right. And everybody will kind of know where I'm going when I say the gift of it is finished. I can remember years ago, before Adam came, well before he came to Chicago or what have you, Adam and I, we would just talk sometimes, and without kind of going, we didn't go deep into personal business and things like that, but sometimes we would give those high level dumps of relationship where we are today. And so a lot of times we would talk about certain things, and I would confide in him, he would confide into me. And I just remember one particular time that he just kind of just succinctly looked at me, and he was like, yeah, at this particular time, I think I'm going to be gone. And I remember saying, man, you whatever, because I'm thinking to myself, this is my friend. I know him. I haven't seen him in this is the final scenario. So I just took it as a couple, tossed it over. And the thing that I never forgot was as soon as that particular month came around, he was gone. And I was just like, okay, I must be honest. Let's say this. How many times, specifically within our community, that we to hear people arguing and fussing, or if whatever your dynamic of not getting along looks like, right? Whatever not working out, and then we always find a way to keep arguing and keep hanging, keep staying, keep arguing, keep staying. But rarely do we see situations where people say, you know what? This is just no longer working for me, and that's okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave now, and really do it. And without it being a mess. Put it that way. Right. Without it being a blow up mess with somebody. Oh, I saw you. I'm coming to bust your windows. Without it being a mess, we just don't just say we're going to do something and do it. So I took that from it. I was like, man, and I took that from him to say, everybody knows their capacity. and everybody knows when they've had enough, right? But
Right.
sometimes we don't all express it the same way.
Right.
Sometimes people stay years where they should have left within months. Right. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I
sometimes
get
I'm
you.
not saying in every situation, everybody's situation is differently, but I know a lot of times we find ourselves in relationships, whether we're trying to get to being married or trying to get to getting to know the person or trying to be committed, whatever the case is, we see these things, Adam, that show up in us that challenge our capacity, right? We're just sitting up there like, I know what the other person is asking of me, but I don't know if I can deliver it.
Right.
And the person don't understand. They look at you like you got two heads. But what you're dealing with is your childhood views.
Yeah, true.
This is what I saw when I was young.
Okay.
Good. I'm sorry. You're gonna say, look, this is what I saw when I was young. So it's hard for me to grapple with what you're asking me or putting in front of me, right? And so, yeah, and I'll touch on some other stuff later, but I'll go ahead and you pick up.
So how, and now let me kind of tangentially skim that.
Okay.
Skim
all
that.
right.
So one of the reasons why first of all, let me say this about me.
Yeah.
I'm a person who says what he means and means what he says. If I say I'm gonna do a certain thing, then I'm gonna do a certain thing. I don't make promises that I don't keep, which means I don't make a lot of promises.
Right.
Okay. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Ask my wife, ask my kids. If I say I'm gonna do something, even ask my ex-wife, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. I'm a man of my word all day. All you really have is your word.
Wow.
And if we can't believe and trust that you're going to do what you said that you were going to do, then you ain't got nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
Real talk.
That's the end
Real
of
talk.
it.
So I needed to make sure that when I did what I said, and I was going to do what I do, that I was going to do it. And plans were already in motion. Plans were already in motion to get things done. The first thing was I needed to do it in a way, Charles.
Yeah.
That was as clean as it could possibly be. I didn't want it to be messy. I didn't want it to be ugly. I didn't want it to be ridiculous with the foolishness, because I'm not a man of foolishness. I'm not a man of foolishness.
Yeah.
Business is business. We're going to take care of this and we're going to do what we got to do. And we're going to make sure everything is good. We're going to make sure everything is good. Kids are going to be taken care of. Everything's going to be taken care of.
Right.
Okay. We're not going to do all this other crazy stuff that I see, because that's not the kind of person that I am.
Right.
We're going to be straight with each other, and we're going to have conversations with each other. We still got to raise these kids, which means we need to be on the same page. We need to have a good co-parenting relationship, which again, with my leaving, I needed to make sure that everything was straight.
Yeah.
I needed to make sure that everything was clean, that there was no mess involved.
Yeah.
Okay. That it was as clean and as thorough as possible. Okay. The other thing was, I needed it to be different than what my father did. I needed it to be different than what my mom did. I needed that because I come from a divorced home. I come from a broken home.
Yeah.
And so I've seen the arguments and the craziness and the wildness that happened in that particular situation. I did not want to put my kids through that.
Wow.
I didn't want to put my ex through that. And I did not want to go through that. So I had a decision to make. How are you going to do this? You saw what your mom did and you saw what your dad did. You saw that. You were there firsthand. You were eyewitness to everything that happened. Old enough to remember all of that stuff. Okay. I needed to make sure that I did it in a way that did not completely damage my kids. Not to say that they made it out unscathed. No. But what I am saying is that I did my very best to eliminate any damage.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's good.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, my kids were the most important thing. Regardless of how the relationship was between mom and dad, the kids needed to be safeguarded. The kids needed to be protected. It was the kids' welfare that I was looking after. So I needed to make sure that they were good. Wow. And making sure they were good was making sure that we eliminated the drama and that we did this in a way that was respectful of both of us. Wow. So I wasn't going to do it any other way but that way. Okay?
That's good stuff.
So I think, but having been through that whole situation with my, mom and my dad in terms of them getting divorced and and all of the stuff that happened between them. That to me was the model not to follow.
Yeah. Wow.
That was the template that I wanted to stray away from. That it was the template, but it was the template and say, okay, you don't do it like this. You do it like this.
Got it.
And I know you don't necessarily know how to do it like this.
Yeah.
But do it in a different way than what you saw.
Oh,
so what you saw, you do the opposite of that. They didn't talk, you talk.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't provide, you make sure you provide.
Wow.
Real talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so make sure that everything is done in a fashion that is in decency and in order.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I didn't want to do it like that. I needed to make sure that everything was cool. You know,
so Bruce is bringing up a question which we can make a broader answer to.
Yeah.
Because basically what he was saying is, and I think this is a good. I feel like, Adam, what you were meaning was not that it was anything wrong necessarily with you liking to chill, but maybe that you feel yourself, you can get real comfortable chilling.
Oh,
be real good where you are.
Oh,
but,
yes.
but to catch up with what Bruce is saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with. I don't think there's anything wrong with. If you're within the confines of your relationship or your marriage, and recognizing you need your time, your privacy.
Yeah.
I think we don't normalize people needing their privacy, and it's almost like if you're not Velcro, something is wrong. Why aren't you stuck to me?
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying? And stuck to you is great, but we do need our time. You know what I mean?
We do definitely need our time, I am an absolute proponent of having time for yourself. Outside of your spouse.
Yeah.
You need to have time for you. There needs to be a moment within your week or in your month where you are able to just chill, maybe watch TV, maybe go to the movies or whatever like that. Just to chill for a minute. You know what I'm saying? And I think for my life and my relationship with my wife and my family, there is definitely an understanding that is there, where we say, hey, you know what? We can go. I can go in my room and chill. She can go in the living room and chill. You know, the daughter is in her room. We all chilling. But then there are moments when we also come together and spend time together. And it's being able to have those moments where you're apart, but then you also come back together. My point in sharing my being by myself was me saying, my father did the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, what he did was there wasn't any coming together after the separation. There was just separation.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There was just him in the room. He didn't really come out of the room and didn't really welcome anybody else into the room. Now, if you got in the room, he wouldn't kick you out, but it wasn't an invitation for you to come in. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I had to recognize that some of that behavior that I saw him is the same thing that I'm displaying.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm going with this, right? That there are things that were in our moms and in our dads that got poured into us. We didn't have a choice in the matter. No. But there are things that mama did that we're doing. Some things that daddy did, we're also doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this point, and again, we can go further with this.
Quick question before you go. No,
Yeah,
is there do you hear like somebody talking in the thing? I hear like some talking like a TV. There's no TV on where I'm at. That's why I was just wondering. I keep hearing this weird noise in the background. But okay, yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
Well, you get no, but anyway.
No, go ahead.
No,
there's noise I hear.
But you know what I ended up doing? Like I said, again, after I got divorced, I guess it was an epiphany or revelation or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I began to realize that my life pattern, my life path, was very similar to what my parents did, and I'll explain it. Okay, so I got divorced from my wife at 20 years, but they also were divorced at the 20-year mark. Not only did they get divorced at the 20-year mark, but they also remarried after the fact. Okay? Both of them got remarried after they got divorced. And so when I begin to look back when I begin to look at my life and I begin to look back at their life, I realized that I had literally walked out the same pattern
Path. Yeah.
and path that they had walked out.
Wow.
And it wasn't like I was trying to do it. I was not trying to do it. But it ended up that way. And I had to really have a conversation with myself and the Lord and really begin to understand what was happening.
Wow.
Why was my life mirroring their life? And it was because of the fact that I had inherited behaviors from them
that you saw
that predisposed me to the same type of action and attitude that they had.
Yeah.
The things that they did that I saw were the same things that I did. Here's the tricky part of it, Charles. There were things that they did that I did not see that I end up doing myself.
Wow. Well, how'd you know? You mean they told you about it later? Or
not necessarily they didn't tell me about it later, but there were things that I knew that I saw within me that I'm like, well, I don't know where this came from. Where did this come from?
Wow.
Where did this come from?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes, again, this will help you. This is one of the benefits of therapy, and that is being able to talk to a professional person will help you to recognize some of the things that you're doing. Because some of the things that you're doing, you're not even recognizing that you're doing.
Yeah.
And you don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
It's not until you begin to dig deep into who you are and to where you came from that you begin to look back from where you came from and recognize, well, mama used to do the same daggone thing.
Dude, who are you telling?
Daddy used to do the same daggone thing. And when I really begin to, and not just about the divorce thing, but about all types of things and attitudes and actions and dispositions and understanding. It's like having family medical history. It's one of the important questions that your doctor will ask you. Does your family have a history of high blood pressure? Yeah. Does your family have a history of heart failure? Does your family have a history in terms of this particular thing? And it's when they understand your family history that they can focus in on the diagnosis, observe the diagnosis for what it actually is, that this is a part of your family. This is a part of your genetic disposition. This is the reason why you have what you have. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up in the same way. So now you got to do some things differently, which means you got to stop eating so many foods that have salt in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, you're going to develop high blood pressure like your daddy had high blood pressure.
Wow. No, that's real talk, man.
Just saying.
Oh, Jesus, on tonight. Now, listen, let me tell you something what's so funny, Adam. Let me tell you what I can tell. I have as you were talking, I was laughing to myself because I feel like a tug of war between my mom and dad.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So my dad could be extremely stubborn. Mm-hmm. Now, my mom was very strong-willed, like meaning my dad tried all he could, all his psychosis to get her to do what he wanted her to do. My mom would listen and she'd be like, okay, but I'm going to do this on it because that's what we got to do. We got to go do this for the church. And all right. Then my dad would just be like, sometimes he tried his little stuff. But the point I'm making is my mom was more of the outwardly expressive, loving person.
Got it.
My dad loved you. I mean, in fact, the kids, my sisters and brothers would always tease me because they act like I was like the golden child. They would always say, why y'all do that for him? Like, because coming up, they either had my mom spoiled a couple or my dad, but it was never a situation where both of them spoiled me. So I was looked at like the, like what's the one with the robe?
Joseph.
I was Joseph of the family.
Yeah.
That's how they treated me. So the point I'm making is my dad would always be the one that he suppressed outward appearance, but he would do big things internally. Like my mom always got what she needed. He might put up a fuss, but he bought the car. I remember when we lived in Southeast DC and my mom kept trying to talk to my dad about home ownership. We were leasing in DC. And I remember we had this duplex house over on Willow Road. So I remember all those things. And then my mom kept saying, Charles, I just think we need to move, and we got these kids and move, and I want to go over to the suburb and I want to buy a house. And my dad, Corey, he tried to come up with every excuse to delay.
Right.
I see that sometimes in myself one tonight.
Oh, okay.
My father tried
Okay.
to delay Adam.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
look,
yeah,
he
yeah.
knew he had the equipment to make it happen. He had his little
Right.
GI Bill. He had his
Okay,
job.
yeah.
He had his
Yeah,
credit,
yeah,
so
yeah.
he could do it.
He could
But
do it.
something about my mom trying to push him to do it, he pushed back. But eventually, after all of that, Adam, he was like,
yeah.
all right, let's just okay. And I remember my mom was ecstatic when he actually broke and said, let's go on and move and buy this house. And we moved on out to Maryland. And so, and I could tell even him, he appreciated the whole, how DC can be. It's night. Nowadays, they done fixed up DC so much. But back in the day, there was a big difference between DC and Maryland. So when you went to Maryland, you felt like you arrived, like, we out here and we're moving on up. So anyway, but make a long story short, so it was cool, whatever. And so I look at the both of them and I see how I have the best of both of them and I have some of the quirks of both of them, right?
Yeah, you do.
And so, and like you said, my mom, I think as great as she was, I think the part of me that I could be honest about, my mom set a really high bar for me when it comes to looking at a wife.
Yeah.
Oh, she set a high bar because she was strong. She may do, even though my mom, it was like, she always worked or whatever, but it wasn't like she was sitting up there in the boardroom. She just had, at the time, my mom was the head cook at this elementary school.
Okay.
Years ago. And so she was doing different things, but at the same time, it wasn't like she was just coming home with all this kind of money, right? She made decent money and my dad made decent money. But the point I was making was she was very resilient. She knew how to make much with little.
Okay.
It was like there was no way she couldn't navigate through. And then I think the biggest part I saw about it was I saw the loyalty aspect. She was very loyal. Like I saw my mom at church and I would see how those men, like when we had conventions or even men within the church were, hey, Sister Dixon, it was, now I know it to be flirting. Younger, you didn't know better, but now I know it to be flirting because my mom was attractive and they looking at it like, I don't see no husband here. So they flirt, but my mom, praise God to you too. Bam. He wasn't giving you no flirting time. No, you can DM me, just talk to me later. None of that. She was bam. I got a husband, period. So what, he at home, but this ain't that.
I'm married,
when I saw that went a long way. And I was like, wow, that was loyal. So then I saw her dedication to even her spiritual beliefs. Like she was dedicated to that. It wasn't and I couldn't do nothing but respect when somebody doesn't waver.
Yeah.
She didn't waver. She kept going. I was like, man. And so when you see that, for a while, I had to kind of say, listen, it's great that you revere your mom this way, right? But your wife to be is not your mother. Right. And so you don't be unfair and hold someone to just because you may revere your mom in a certain way.
Yeah.
And so you kind of be able to take the little bones here and there. But I think the thing that I probably don't negotiate with is I do like resiliency.
Okay.
Because resiliency is what lasts. If you don't have resiliency with the person that you with, it's you're not gonna have a happy relationship. You gotta have resiliency. So
True. Yeah. No, I kind of agree with that. That the person that you look for to be a mate and a spouse will have similarities to either your mom or your dad. They're going to have similarities. Because again, you're not going to be able to completely stray all the way away from that, right? But if there's some acknowledgement of, okay, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, I'm looking for this. Yeah, there ought to be some things that you ought to be looking for in a mate and a spouse that reflect, the relationship that you have with your mom or the relationship that you have with that. There ought to be some similarities there. I think it's just important that you are aware. And I think sometimes we're not always aware of what we're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We're not always aware of that. And I think that's where we kind of get caught up at, because we end up going according to what we think that we want based on the
What we
previous experience
yeah,
or even the family life that we
yeah,
had that may not have been the greatest
yeah,
family
model.
life
Yeah, right.
model template. And
Yeah.
because of the fact that we're looking for this type of thing, we're not aware that that's not the good thing that we ought to be looking for.
Mm,
And even with me, and again, I'll use myself as an example. I realized on the second time around, I needed to do things differently.
different. Yeah.
I needed to do things differently. I couldn't do it the way that I did it before because the way that I did it before obviously did not work.
Work. Wow.
Obviously was not as successful as I would have hoped it to be, which means I needed to do it in a different way. I
Wow.
couldn't do it the same old way that I did it before. And again, if we're being honest, changing your ways is difficult
Yeah. It is.
because we're comfortable with what we do and how we do what we do. We've
Yeah.
always done it this way. Why should we change?
Change. Yeah.
Why should we alter what we've done if we've
Wow.
always done it this way? Well, if I want a different result, I
Mm,
got to do it differently. If
differently.
I want
Yeah,
a
that's it.
different outcome, that means I got to do it
Differently.
differently. I can't
Mm,
do it the same way, which means there has to be a change in me.
yeah. Wow.
It's got to be a change in me. There's got to be a
Mm,
change in me. It's got to be. You're not going to make it until there's a change in you. Until you begin to adjust. Until you trying to change everybody else. That ain't
yeah.
no. That's not the way this works, man. You
Yes.
sitting there critiquing everybody else, ticking everybody else off. You're not checking this box. You're not doing this. You're not meeting this particular expectation. Well, how about you check you for a minute?
Wow.
Check you
Wow.
for a minute and find out where you really are.
Yeah.
Find out the
Man.
reason why you do what you do. The reason why you act the way that you act. Because that's the way you saw your mama act. That's the way you
Wow.
saw your daddy act. And the reality is you can't deny them because they were part of you.
Yeah.
But what you need to do is recognize the aspects of you that are from them that are negative, those things that are pulling you down.
Yeah.
I never forget. I think I mentioned this to you earlier. How my mom, whenever I would do something that was wrong or bad, she would come out, "Oh, you're acting just like your daddy."
Yeah.
And I had to realize and recognize in my lifetime. I said, "Well, I'm his son.
What are you expecting to see?
What do you want from me?"
I mean, wow.
But at the same time, Charles, as much as I'm his son, I'm also your son.
I got some of you too.
So I got some of you too. And
Wow.
some of you in me is actually what you're looking at. So
Wow.
let's
And
talk
see,
for
but see
real,
the
mama.
dynamic with that kind of dynamic, Adam, is a lot of times if we're looking at ourselves as grown men and women, you look back now and see how she could say acting like your father because it was like you were a snapshot of what irritated her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And meaning that relationship with them.
Right.
Maybe with good, bad, or indifferent. You look like your father, you act like your father. You know how it is. And vice versa. Men would do the same thing about daughters and different things. So yeah, man, this whole thing goes deep.
But the reality is that, and then this is what I also had to realize. This was a point of growth for me, that not everything that my father did or was bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yes, he might have did some things that were bad, but he wasn't a bad person. Just like my mom wasn't all good. There were some things about her that weren't the greatest. Let's be real.
And look,
but we share these things within ourselves. These are the things that make up who we are. Now, the challenge now is to be able to mitigate or eliminate the negative aspects of who we are and strengthen the positive aspects of who we are.
Wow. See, your dad could have saw peace a different way, Adam. Nowadays as a grown person,
true.
Listen, we know now that grown people, there can be an offense. Maybe somebody could do something to offend the relationship or the marriage, right? Or whether it's the woman or the man. But we do know if there's constant noise in the relationship, sometimes people decide they're going to look, this may not feel right. It may not be right.
Right.
But I have to get silent. I have to silence the noise by making a decision. Sometimes that's what it comes down to. You don't like to look at it like that, but
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what it is, man. And
Sometimes it
so,
does, and then sometimes that's necessary just for you to be able
yeah,
to collect your own thoughts,
yeah,
to be able to compose yourself, and then to be able to come back at whatever the issue is with a clear head,
yeah,
being able to articulate exactly what you're feeling and what you believe the solution is.
yeah,
It's okay every now and again.
yeah. And look, here's the thing. Someone said that they feel that you will change when the right person comes, man or woman comes along. I think this is my thought.
Mhm.
Most of us know if we sit with ourselves and think about it, we know we sitting on that couch just as our mother.
Mhm.
We know we over here doing this at this bar just as our dad. We
Mhm.
know when we are operating in the parent, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, the time to change is when you realize it. Don't
Why
change
don't change?
because
Okay.
because people coming into your life will just make you emotionally situational.
Yeah.
But you're not going to just show up and step out of mom and dad just because this new person to make you smile. You need to do the
Right.
self work. See,
Yeah.
when we
That's good.
deflect to other people, we're putting the onus of change and healing
On
on
them.
them. The
Yeah.
healing is an
Versus
inside job for you.
real talk.
So
Real
when
talk.
we see these things and these behaviors show up from the past, or maybe I see a little bit of mom or dad in me or whomever, the minute you see it, the minute we need to start doing work to fix it. And
Yeah.
I'm talking about the not so good thing. I'm not talking about the
Yes.
things about us that are amazing from our parents, but the
Right. I
things
don't
that we
doesn't
need
yeah.
to balance. Because there are some things in us that are good that
Yeah.
our parents put there. Then there are some
Yeah.
things that we like, I think knowing that I have the wherewithal to spot what that is, let me do
Right.
some work on it because I don't want that to
Yes.
continue in the lineage. So
Yeah.
when you see it, you fix it. You don't
Right.
say wait to someone else or let me go over here and maybe you'll cast a light on me to inspire me. Inspiration got to come from within on this one.
Mhm.
You got to be self-inspired to show up differently than what mama or daddy or whomever has. And so I'll be honest, in our community, it's a lot of lazy work. We don't want to do the work. We want to exist. We want to have mama and grandma's recipes and we learn all. We just want to exist and be left alone and be in
Okay.
love. But
Okay.
we don't want to do the
Do the
work,
change
not
and
to
yeah.
show up in a way like the past. And you
Yeah.
got to do it. And I'm listening to myself talk, but I think about sometimes it's like, it's easy to get in that lazy pocket and be like, this is just how I'm going to love. And sometimes it's not that acceptable, right?
Yeah.
To love like that way, like the
Yeah.
lazy love. You don't have to be lazy in love. You can be proactive to be something different.
Yeah.
Case says the people don't
Yeah.
see it until it's pointed out. Yeah, I mean,
That's
but
true.
but
But
sometimes we do know it.
and that's what I was going to say. I
Yeah,
think
we know it.
sometimes
Yeah.
we have a tendency not wanting to admit to ourselves that we have some issues that we need to address.
Yeah.
And again, I'm the first on the list, y'all. I know there are some things about me that I need to change and I
Yes.
need to work on it. But here, let me put it to you like this, and I'll go back to my home history. I'll go back to my home
Someone
history.
is
Here's the thing.
fighting. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Calm down, calm down.
All right, go
Listen,
ahead.
there were some things that I needed to do after I got divorced. And one of those things, and I know I've said this before and I'll continue to say it. And one of those things that I did was I went to a professional therapist.
Yeah.
Not only to deal with the aftermath of a 20-year marriage ending in divorce, but to help me be better at being me, to help me get healed and become whole, to address some of the holes in me, to address some of the problems that I have, so that when I was getting ready to walk into that next relationship, my changes were not predicated upon the next person. The changes were initiated when I was by myself. So that when the time for the next person to come, I would be already prepared and ready for them to come. And then that's not to say that that there won't be more changes or further changes when you do meet that person. Because I really do believe that when you do meet that person, you are going to change. There are going to be some things that you're going to do to adjust yourself and to accommodate them. Absolutely. But then prior to that, there ought to be some work that you do on you in order to prepare you for them. I think often we walk into some relationships unprepared. And we look unprepared.
Going into it, we look.
We didn't come ready to be in a relationship. I mean, if you really want that relationship to work, you got to do the work before you walk into the relationship.
Yeah.
And then because you got to do the work before you get into a relationship while you were in the relationship.
Yes.
The work never really stops. Real talk.
What I have learned, Adam, is love is not for the faint of change.
Yeah.
People don't want people get belligerent when they got to look at themselves in the mirror.
They don't like looking at themselves.
Yeah, because we all want to think of ourselves as ready, as they do on that show, ready to love. I'm ready to love. And the truth be told, a lot of us are not ready to love. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we just need to surrender ourselves to the thought that there are some things that I need to work on in me at the end of the day. And just recognize it for what it actually is. It's just you being prepared for whatever's coming next. You know what I'm saying? That's like trying to take a test, but you didn't study. But you want to pass the test, but you didn't study. You got to do the work before the test comes, so that when the test comes, you already know the answers and you pass the test.
Wow.
But if you don't do the work, you don't know the work. You're not going to make it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's just as simple as that. It really is. Yeah. How about that?
It's sometimes, Adam, we go to the core of our shows. Sometimes. Well, I'm not gonna say what I want to say, but anyway, I'll be good today. But anyway, everyone knows me, right? Certain things I have a certain limit. But anyway, to make a long story short on tonight, this was a good show, Adam. This was like sometimes digging deep within works. Digging deep with us, it really works. It's like you gotta. Like this was even talking about this show today. This makes me think about myself internally and different things, and just be like, let's think about how we should just all walk away from this conscious of how we sit today.
Yeah,
like the way we sit today, it is par for the course for us to show up like we were raised up, right?
Right.
Okay. But if those things cause us struggle or cause us difficulty with moving forward, we got to just sit them to the side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of us have become comfortable with the way that we are.
Yes.
And we don't necessarily see the need for a change. We don't, because we're comfortable with the way that we are. But again, I really want us to understand that if we're actually going to be in a viable, healthy relationship with somebody, that it is going to take deliberate, intentional work on ourselves to be ready for the relationship that's coming. And I don't know how else to say that. We need to do the stuff on us so that when the relationship presents itself to us, we don't have to walk away because we're not ready for it. And it's not that you're all bad. It's just some parts of you
that needs to be leveled off. Leveled off. It's like back in the day when we had the stereos at home and we had what we referred to as the equalizer.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, you played with it until you found that balance that sounded good to you, felt good to you. So sometimes that's what this is like. Yeah. It's like your mother, your father, and yourself make up this equalizer.
Yeah.
So you turn up a little bit of dad, turn down a little bit of mom, turn more of yourself up and balance it. That's really what it is. It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
And we just have to just find
Balance it out.
find that rhythm that sounds good from where you
Yeah.
came from. Because we
Right.
can't forget where we came from. We
Nope.
just have to make the adjustment so that it's good.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Real talk.
Yeah.
Real talk.
You know, as they say in the old days, Adam, ain't nobody mad but the devil. But anyway,
God.
on that note, y'all, we'll see y'all next week. It's taking every
Bless
bit
him,
of me. But
Lord.
anyway,
Bless him.
next
I
week
know
on
you ready to
Tonight's
do
Shot.
something. I know you
Yeah.
are.
We'll see y'all next week, and we will talk about the show next time on Tonight. All right. Peace out. You say, oh, well, until not peace out, I forget. Not until we got to come back for the Unplugged. Maybe that's the time. Okay, hold on. Let's see.
What you doing now?
No, I'm ready to take. Oh. All right. Now on Tonight. Well, we should go ahead on and what you got? You have any more words, Mr. Ford, on Tonight?
You know what? I will say this last thing. I want y'all to be good to yourselves this weekend. Be good to yourselves this weekend. Do something fun. Enjoy yourselves. It's going to be kind of nice outside. So be good to yourselves this weekend. I know this topic was a little heavy.
Adam.
Go to the movies. Go out to dinner. Call somebody. You know, do something fun for yourself. I think sometimes because our society is the way that it is, and even with this topic, sometimes it can be so heavy. But sometimes every now and then you need to lighten up.
Yeah, for sure.
Lighten up on yourself, for real. It's not that.
Nothing is that serious. Ain't that deep. Yeah,
not at all. Not at all.
All right. All's well. All minds are clear.
It is well.
All right, sir. Well, I'll holler at you. We'll talk. Well, you have a safe weekend. We'll talk. Can you hear me?
I can hear you still on the air, bro.
No, it's like your phone, your thing was freezing up. That's why I didn't know.
Oh, I'm still here. Okay. I'm still here.
Sir.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
You saying bye? Bye.
Yeah. Bye. See you later.
Bye, guys.